Ahoy, my friends, Ryder here, and welcome back to another Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis video. Today, I'm going to be doing a to pull or not to pull evaluation on the New Year's limited banner for Tifa and Aerith. And that being said, let's just jump straight into it. So I'm going to jump over to this draw. We're going to look at the limit break draw. This is a limited banner. The first thing I'm going to show you guys is the stamp card right here. It is not quite the same as usual. That's just because there are two characters on this banner, which makes it kind of a little bit of a headache, especially for players that want both of these players, right? Because not only are we losing one of the weapons right here for the costume voucher, but the fact that they're both on here means that it can be very, very hard to chase something, right? Because, you might just get terrible luck on both. You might only get luck for one. And then on top of that, we have the odds for like the New Year's anniversary. We had, an increased 1.5 rate. And I feel like something like that would have been, very heartwarmingly welcomed, but there is no rate up for this banner. The fact that both characters are on it with weapons, I just feel like makes it a little bit tricky. You really got to know what you're going for when you go into this banner and what you guys want. So I'm going to try and just evaluate it as best I can and share with you guys, my overall thoughts on this. So first things first, let's take a look at Tifa's ultimate weapon here, guys, which is pretty freaking crazy. Let's go to the Mako Gem Exchange. And Tifa's ultimate weapon is officially out. All right, so here it is, Premium Heart. It's going to deal 2,000% physical magic non-elemental damage. Also, haste is applied. Duration 30 seconds. It has a charge time of 50 seconds. Initial is only 15 seconds, though, so you can cast it pretty quick off the bat. And it has 3 uses, so that's one more use than we are typically used to. We have boost ability potency at 20, which is going to get us attack stance, command gauge, physical magic plus 15%, so that's great. And then we have attack boost 25, which is going to give us physical and magic attack are increased when the battle begins, potency high, right? So she's just going to start the battle with physical magic attack potency at high. Freaking crazy. It's going to last 60 seconds, okay? And not affected by increase or reduction in effect duration. All right, so honestly, looking so good so far. This weapon, so good for Tifa. The triple haste, I mean, she is just an absolute monster DPS character in this game now, right? I really wish that Cloud would always be the absolute monster DPS, but even in Rebirth Remake, Tifa is just so insane. She's so powerful, and this is a great weapon. Other than that, let's jump back to the banner itself. All right, and let's take a look at the costume. So here we have Tifa's New Year's costume. I really like the blue on white and gold. Like, those are 3 of my favorite colors, if not my top 3. And so the overall vibe right here, super chill. I like the classiness, the elegance of the costume. It just looks really good, I feel like. And then we have Aerith's costume over here, which is also super cool. I love the crimson on the white with the bows, and then she's got that gold flare in her hair, the flowers there. She just looks beautiful, guys. And then that weapon, super interesting, right? And it's just got these little good omen things right here on it, the little tickets. I can't remember what they're called. And honestly, guys, she just looks really good. So both costumes, in my opinion, look absolutely fantastic. They are really, really, really good. And then let's go in and actually check out the stats on these. So I'm going to take a look at both costumes first, then the weapons, and then kind of give my overall feeling on how to approach this banner, or how I might approach this banner. All right, so we're going to have Reprieve in the first slot, which is essentially like, it's the same as Vincent's from his weapon, or from his costume, right? So, if you take a kill shot, you're going to survive it. And that is insane. The fact that now 3 characters in the game will now have Reprieve. You could have an entire team that can be killed and will come back to life. So there's definitely going to be some bosses in the future that are going to be utilizing this reprieve. But honestly, the best thing about this, and I do think that Tifa's costume is the best one in this, and that, I think for most players, pulling for this costume is very, very good. This is very close to an Arcanum for every single element, guys. So that's just insane, because if you have this, it gives you a kind of grace on certain banners, right? Because with this, Tifa can cover either physical or magic on every single element. So if you miss a certain banner for a certain element, you can essentially swap in Tifa. Now, she doesn't really have earth damage, right? She has water, right? But not physical water. She has physical wind, right? She has magic lightning, physical ice, and magic fire. So she does hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these elements, guys. And I would imagine that she's going to be getting some type of earth weapon in the future. You could always, if it's not limited, you could skip it and wishlist the weapon and just use this costume to basically get by on a lot of different things. I think that these kind of costumes that are well-rounded, you know, like the Bahamut costume for Cloud, which can essentially be used with any physical elemental build, you know, that kind of thing that has such a range of options. I feel like with a game like Ever Crisis, with the increasing amount of limited banners coming out, it's extremely important for us to get things that are not super niche, right? So for example, right, we had Guild War number 6, we had Matt come out with his fire boosting weapon and it raises magic attack. But that is such a niche weapon, guys, because not only is it one element, but it's also one attack type, right? So it's fire and magic. So out of all the options in the game, we have 6 elements, and then we also have non-elemental. If you basically times that by 2, because we have physical and magic, that is what? 7 times 2, 14 different approaches for different battles, right? Fire magic, fire physical, wind magic, etc., etc., etc. So for having something like that, fire attack up, magic attack up, that means 1 in 14 fights it's going to be viable. Now let's take a look at this, right? This is going to be viable in 12 of 14 fights once Tifa has earth, right? And then, or essentially if you take out the physical or magic, essentially it can do at least half, right? Which is crazy. The amount of viability and kind of efficiency that this costume gives you is so much more effective than the other niche things. And so for me in this year, you know, my goals are to get Lucia a kind of, you know, well-rounded overall costume, Matt a well-rounded overall costume, and essentially just like, you know, avoid the super niche banners. They put out those niche banners because they know that there are players that are going to pull for it no matter what. But for the vast majority of the player base, I just feel like those banners are kind of a waste, I think. You get it for the moment and it's strong for that week, and then, you know, it might not be 8 months before you see it again, right? When I pull for something in the game, I want it to be something that I can use, you know, time and time again, not something that I'm, you know, it takes a long time to save up enough crystals for a banner, let's say 40K, right? So that could take up to 2 months depending on what's going on. And then you spend that 2 months worth of savings on one thing that works for 3 days, and then it's, you know, it falls off. It can come in handy in the sub-weapons, etc., but I do think that it's super important to pull for things that give you a maximum amount of range in playability in the game, and this costume right here does exactly that. So for the first stamp card, guys, I recommend going for Tifa if you are pulling for the costume. All right, now let's take a look at her weapon here. All right, so here's the blue daffodil gloves. We're going to look at it at OB1 level 120. It's going to have 396 physical attack. All right, and then the command ability, Blue Fluorescent Flurry, deals 720% physical non-elemental damage. So as we can see, guys, it looks like my guess is that Cloud will be magic. Will have magic banners this entire year, and Tifa will have physical banners this entire year. They essentially just switch them, right? So Cloud and Tifa are always going to cover different ends of the spectrum, and I would imagine that in 2026, Cloud is going to switch back to physical, Tifa will switch back to magic, and they're just going to keep switching them like this, right? So here's the beginning of everything for Tifa. Now we have her Blue Fluorescent Flurry, 720% physical non-elemental damage at OB1, which is pretty high for OB1. Also, it applies Exploit Weakness, so you can essentially use this to buff herself as a sub-weapon for any elemental damage in the game, guys, except this must be physical, right? Or actually, I mean, this would work for, you could even equip this even if you weren't running a physical team, just because the Exploit Weakness buff is so good. If you look at it at OB10, 40%, nothing to scoff at here, guys, and 25% at base OB1, so pretty dang good. If we take the weapon to OB6, it's going to deal 1000% physical non-elemental damage. All right, the exploit weakness will go to 40%, so it doesn't actually change from OB6 to OB10. All right, and then we'll take a look at OB10 right here. 679 physical attack, pretty strong. I believe we've yet to see something break 700 at OB10. The damage potency only goes up 100%, so not a huge jump here, guys. The exploit weakness does not change. The duration, 70 seconds, is crazy, though. All right, and then here, duration 50 seconds. Still very good, but 70-second duration is very, very strong. And then let's take a look at the R abilities. We have boost attack all allies. I believe this is the first time we've seen it on a weapon and not a costume, you know. And you put this in the back slot, it's going to give you 15%, or 15 points, so plus 7% to both physical and magic attack. Now, are you going to slot this, you know, if you're running a magic DPS team, you're going to want magic attack up, right? So this is going to mix between the two, so I just don't feel like it's as powerful. However, it does work for both, so it does have a little bit more range than the other ones, which is always nice to have. Then we have the boost ability potency here at 39, support abilities, physical attack boost, magic attack boost, and X sigil break boost right here, guys. So, you know, this looks like a weapon to chase to, or to slowly take to OB6, but it does look like it could. I mean, the duration is still 50 seconds at OB1, 25%. Even just having 1 or 2 copies of this, I think you're still going to get a good amount of use out of it in the offhand for Tifa. All right, so overall, pretty solid weapon, really good, very good for Tifa. Now, let's jump over and look at the Aerith stuff right here. So we're going to take a look at the Festive Crimson attire. It's going to have reprieve in the first slot. All right, so you're going to be able to survive a death blow. And then here we have New Year's protection. It's going to have HP plus 10%, healing potency plus 20%. So that healing potency plus 20%, very strong. I believe it's 10% higher than the Bahamut anniversary costume for her. But the anniversary costume, I think, is overall better because it also gives physical and magic defense plus 20%, which I would much rather have than the HP plus 10%. However, you are going to have access to reprieve, so that is always nice to have. You know, if you're going into a fight where reprieve is necessary, at least you will have the extra HP 10% and healing potency 20%, which is super good. But that being said, despite the fact that this costume is pretty good, I do think Tifa's is superior, and I wouldn't really recommend going for this costume before Tifa's unless you are not really building Tifa. If you missed Aerith's Bahamut anniversary costume, you know, or if you just love Aerith, then yeah, those are all good reasons to go for her costume first. But for me, I will be going for Tifa's costume first, but likely I will be chasing Aerith's weapon over Tifa's, all right? Now let's take a look at Aerith's weapon. It is the Crimson Staff. Here we have it at OB1 level 120. It has 393 magic attack. The command ability is Crimson Fluorescence. ATB cost 4, deals 540% magic non-elemental damage to all enemies. It will also increase magic attack all allies and reduce magic defense for all enemies if HP is 70% or more. Right, at OB1, the duration is 16 seconds, so not crazy. All right, and the magic defense break is 22 seconds. So very, very, very strong support weapon for magic-focused teams right here, guys. On top of that, it also has boost magic attack all allies and buff debuff extension on it. The support abilities are magic attack boost. Then we have the single target heal boost, which is great, and the all cure spell in the third slot right here. So this weapon can be put in the main hand, which is awesome that Aerith a lot of time gets these support abilities, which are super important for her since she is essentially the best healer supporter in the entire game. All right, so let's go up to OB6. Here we have the Crimson Staff. We have 618 magic attack. Now I should note on the OB1, guys, that this only goes to mid potency right here. All right, but mid is still great, guys. Mid is still good. I'm not gonna say great, I'm gonna say good. Mid is still good. This is still going to be a very powerful weapon. All right, both of them are mid. However, when you take this to OB6, it's not even mid to high, it's just straight high. So this weapon becomes insane at OB6, guys. Really good. All right, and the duration, however, does not actually increase on the magic attack up 16 seconds here. That is interesting that they didn't actually increase the duration right there. A little bit bummed out. 16 seconds is really short in this game, guys, right? And then we have the magic defense, which did go up from 22 to 25 seconds. Now, I want to go over and look at the Commodore wand right here really quick, guys, to check the duration on the physical attack up for the team. All right, so let's go into here. Let's look at the Commodore wand. All right, here's mine at OB7. Physical attack is increased. Oh, so it is only 16 seconds as well. All right, so maybe not as bad as I thought. At least it's the same. So let's go back over to the draw. And we'll go right here, check out the Crimson Staff, up to OB6. All right, so once you guys get to OB6, both of these are going to cast high on the first cast, which is super, super strong. It's going to make magic-focused teams insane. All right, then we have 660% magic non-elemental damage with a crit rate of 10%. All in all, super solid here. The R abilities will go to 40 on the magic attack. I believe at OB10, this is 46 over 39, which is the standard. Yes, it is. All right. And essentially looking really good. If we go to OB10, let's look at the difference increase. So the damage goes up 90% to 750. The duration bumps to 20 seconds. All right. And the duration for magic defense bumps 10 seconds from 25 to 35 seconds. So really big increase at OB10 here. But there are going to be very few players in the game that are actually taking this weapon to OB10. But yeah. So essentially, guys, that's going to basically cover, you know, a quick overview of this banner. So let's go through and I'm just going to give my opinions. First, I'm going to tell you guys what I'm going to be doing. So on this, I will be chasing Tifa's costume, however, but I will be chasing Aerith's weapon, right? And that's because I believe that Tifa's weapon will be, you know, more viable at lower levels than Aerith's. I think both are going to be decent pre-OB6, and then both are going to be really strong at OB6. But I do think that the support weapons are typically stronger than the DPS ones. They're rarer. They don't come as often. It's not as likely that they're power crept. DPS weapons are probably the most quickly power crept weapons in the game compared to anything else. So that's why I would be focusing Aerith's right here. Now, other than that, guys, I would say that if you're a newer player, if you're coming into the game in the last 3 to 6 months, you know, Tifa's costume is going to just be amazing. You'll probably be running it all the time for so many different things, especially if you don't have old Arcanums, you're missing stuff like that. It's going to be super good. I can really only, you know, for Aerith's, I think, second page costume right there. I wouldn't really put it in the first, like I said, unless you just love Aerith and you're not really building Tifa. But other than that, Tifa's going to take precedence. But for me, Aerith's weapon takes precedence. That will be the one I will be going for the guaranteed copies of. But then we'll just have to see, you know, these double banners with the double costumes and the double weapons, they're hard to navigate because you just don't know what kind of luck you're going to get. It's a lot harder to chase what you want. So you really have to be careful with what you're going for. But I would say, other than the fact that this banner is limited, which sucks for everyone, I think that it's really solid banner overall. It's just a little bit of a bummer that this is dropping literally right before Sid, so it is a little bit tricky. There are a lot of good things in the shop, however, guys. You know, I picked up one of those crystal boost packs. I picked up a couple of those, you know, 3K packs with the premium tickets. You can get a lot of extra premium tickets because of Applebot's mistake on those special limit break draws, you know, and the prices on them didn't increase, so you're getting a really good value for those premium tickets. And that's really what's going to save us on this banner, right? Because we have to keep in mind, Sid is on the horizon. Rebirth crossover could also be on the horizon. But yeah, guys, so that's essentially going to be my take on this banner. If you guys are pulling, I wish you guys the best of luck. But you guys can also wait, right, and see what Sid is going to be. The banner ends on January 22nd. The New Year's shop ends, you know, 30 days from now. So there is no rush, guys. You can wait and see. But I will be doing a pull video for this banner. I don't know how far I will go on the banner, but I do have 70 premium tickets now. So that's like an extra 21K in blue crystals. I just want to make sure that I can pull for Sid. I'm super excited for Sid. I'm super excited for a spear user. It's just a new energy in the game, which I think is great. But yeah, that being said, guys, that is going to conclude my to pull or not to pull video. If you guys have any other questions, please just drop a comment. I'm happy to answer and help you guys along through the game. If you enjoyed this video today, please don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to the channel for more Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis content. I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.